Hello, welcome to Juan Wikichenko Valverde's Hot Boxing Takes. Today, we're going to be talking about a few things that are going on right now in the world of boxing, and one that is clearly important this week is Chavez Jr. taking on Jake Paul. As we know, Jake Paul is a polarizing figure, as well as Chavez Jr., so this is a fight that will indeed spark some interest in some certain fan bases, much like it did last year, or every time that Jake Paul fights, as a matter of fact. The main thing here is that much like every fight that Jake Paul is involved in, there is some certain hope, or let's say thinking that the opponent will be able to perform better and that Jake Paul is actually worse than he really is. So in this case, we have Chavez Jr., a guy that, as you guys know, is the son of Julio Cesar Chavez, one of the greatest boxers of all time, and certainly top 5 Latino fighters of all time. This guy, for many years, depending how you see it, he overachieved or underachieved. He did win a championship at one point, and also did beat a couple of good fighters before actually losing everything and his discipline coming back and haunting them. A series of situations involving drug addiction, rehab, poor performance in the ring has left the career of Chavez Jr. really in a very bad spot. And considering that he is now closer to 40 than to 20, a lot of people would consider him a veteran, if not a shot fighter, which is where I think he is. The other thing that I want to talk about is the weight situation. We're talking about a significant weight increase in terms of fighting weight for Chavez Jr. Even though he's a big kid, he really has never fought at the elite level in higher weight classes. The highest he ever went was 175 pounds, and he got knocked out there. So the fact that he's moving up to a much higher weight against a natural puncher, and yes, I do acknowledge that Jake Paul is not like the most talented guy out there, but one thing he does have is power. And again, as a lot of people know, power can't be taught in the gym. You either are born with it or without it, and he has it. So he's going to be facing a big kid, much younger than him, more disciplined, more active, and that doesn't sound like a good thing. So what I want to say here to conclude is that Chavez Jr.'s chances are probably very, very low of winning. He does have better technique. He does have better, let's say, pedigree, maybe better boxing skills, way more experience, but he is on the side of his career where, as I said before, I would consider him shot. And that added to the fact that he's fighting at a higher weight class, plus his discipline problems, plus inactivity, etc., it doesn't sound like a good idea to face a big boy like Jake Paul. Now, I do want to say something about this kind of fight, because I think fans set up expectations that are not realistic, right? They think Chavez Jr. that's going to walk in the ring is the one that beat Andy Lee 10 years ago. And that version is gone, sir. That version is gone. That person does not exist anymore. Much like last year when Paul faced Tyson, a lot of people thought that Mike Tyson from 1987 was going to come up and show up, which is clearly not reality, right? But most of the mainstream, fan base or casual fans think that way. They think that the path is just going to appear out of nowhere, right? Even if you go 20 years back and saw Tyson in his last fight, you can see how the version we saw against Paul was very similar to that one that we saw back then. A shot fighter simply can't throw punches anymore, can't deliver, and when you're having a guy that's closer to 60 years old with all sorts of injuries, plus a lot of situations outside the ring, plus inactivity, etc., you're talking about a complete disaster. Again, the guy that Tyson lost to back 20 years ago, wouldn't last 2 rounds with Jake Paul. And we're expecting Tyson to perform better than that. And it's impossible. And that kind of expectation is a very common expectation that we have when we see our heroes come back. So we have Manny Pacquiao coming back next month. Same thing. Manny Pacquiao that lost to Ugas probably can't compete against Mario Barrios, and much less the one that we have right now. It's an older guy, hasn't fought in a long time, and he's going to fight a young strong guy. So that doesn't sound like a good idea either. That's another fight that I think is going to go the wrong way, and people are going to be surprised, and some of them are going to say that the fight was fixed, much like what they did with Tyson. And we might probably hear the same thing this Saturday with Jake Paul and Chavez Jr., where they probably were going to say that fight was fixed too. And finally, I want to say that we have Crawford, right? Terrence Crawford, one of the top fighters in the world when he's in 147 pounds. When he's at 154, as we saw last year against Madrimov, he's not that great. You can start seeing that his reflexes are not the same. His defense is not the same. His foot speed is not the same. So I just wonder if we add another 14 pounds plus more than a year layoff against a guy as good as Canelo, even if he's not at his best, he's going to find out that size matters, and that big of a difference, that big of a jump from one fight to another is not a good idea. I expect Canelo to just take advantage of that size advantage and surprise people with his speed, and surprise Crawford with his speed, not only his strength. Crawford's going to find out that his reflexes are not going to be exactly the same as they were in 147 a couple of years ago when he fought Errol Spence. So with that being said, I know that a lot of people are not going to agree with me, but I do believe that Terrence Crawford is not going to be that competitive against Canelo, much like Manny Pacquiao and Chavez Jr. are not going to be competitive in their next following fights. So thank you. Keep following us, subscribe, and share, and I'll get you more hot takes on boxing.